Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Cinefiles Extended Cut, the show where we break down the biggest stories of the week as covered in the original Cinefiles, as well as some stories that didn't quite make the cut. I'm your host, Matt. Phoebe is here, Liam is here, and as our trusted audience can see, poor Justin's not here. Well, poor Justin. He's actually gone. In Hawaii.
Justin's on the cutting room floor, actually. We cut him from our show.
Oh, that's rough. Justin, if you're watching from beautiful Hawaii, we apologize.
Just the boys this week.
Just the boys this week.
Again.
Phoebe, do you have a rebuttal for that?
I don't care.
I think we should not touch upon that anymore anyways. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Let's start things off with our super fun movie club.
Yes.
This week we watched Pineapple Express, and we hope you guys joined us as well. It was a 10-year anniversary this week.
Yes.
And we just thought, hey, we did Step Brothers last week. Let's keep the comedy train rolling. So Pineapple Express it was, and it's just as good as I remember it, just as funny. Probably my favorite, one of my favorite comedies of just that whole 2000s era.
Oh, yeah. I would say this is better than Step Brothers from last week. Notoriously, I didn't like it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely better. Like, I've seen this movie probably like 100 times, and every time I watch it, I just like cannot deal with how funny it is. Like, there are so many, like, I think my favorite part is when he's like, there's a fly in the ointment. Like, it's just like, it makes absolutely no sense, but it's so funny. And like, everybody knows how I feel about James Franco.
And that didn't deter it for you at all.
This movie is so funny. It's just so good.
He's so good in that movie, James Franco.
I think it does everything so perfectly. Like, I think like the comedy is like top notch. The action, even the action, like the ending set piece is so funny and so big budget for like a movie kind of like this,
because like it is a stoner movie, but like you said, the action sequences are awesome. The story is actually really well put together. I love everything about it. What does our audience think of Pineapple Express? I'm sure we got some good comments.
People still are coming in.
Nice.
So just let us know if like what you thought of the movie as you're coming in.
There's one scene that always cracks me up. It's like it's one of the first scenes when he goes to buy the weed, and then he's like, "Okay, you got the weed. Here's the money. I'm about to leave." "Oh, you're leaving already, man? Like, we could just watch some like funny videos on the internet." And it's just like, that's exactly what
is he
anyone
watching
who smokes weed does.
When Seth Rogen walks in and he's like, "Oh no, she didn't."
It's
watching Golden Girls or something.
Some sitcom from the 80s where he's like,
"Okay,
I thought hurricane season was over."
Yeah.
That line is so good.
And it's funny because there's like a second TV in that room that's like paused and muted, and he's watching another one, so it's like he alternates between the two.
All the art on his walls is like the funniest thing ever to me. He's got like crayon drawings on the walls and stuff like that.
There's a Scarface poster, I think.
It's like, I think it's one of those movies that like every time you watch it, you pick up new jokes or like new little things, you know what I mean? And it just like never gets old.
I feel like I know that movie front to back. When I was watching it, I watched it last night, and I was literally like quoting the whole thing, and I was laughing before the joke started. Yeah, to myself.
That's really annoying.
It's one of those. It's one of those movies that's like infinitely rewatchable for me. I think. Because it's just so good.
Yeah. Any comments rolling in now?
So Nile says, "I like the movie. Rogen was better than Franco and is underrated."
Okay, let's talk about that for a bit. I would swap that and say that Franco is better than Rogen.
Rogen in this movie?
Yeah.
I mean, like, Rogen kind of is playing the straight man, kind of.
Because
Franco's kind of wacky.
He has the character, you know. He's a different character.
I think what's like surprising is how like James Franco subverts expectations in this movie. Like, I don't know that we knew that he had these comedic chops. Like,
that's a very good point.
And I think that he's definitely like a standout in this movie. Like you said, Seth Rogen is sort of like the straight man to his antics.
Yeah.
Seth Rogen is always funny, you know. So it was nice to see him in more, I don't know, I guess like more of a subdued comedic role.
That's a very good point, because I remember when the movie came out, I was kind of like, wow, James Franco, I never thought he was a funny guy. And he has like the long greasy hair, and I was like, this just really isn't him. I don't know if he can pull it off.
Is this the movie that like catapulted him into like this comedic sort of
I think so. Because like, I mean, he was in Freaks and Geeks with like all the like that group, but like he wasn't really comedic in that.
Yeah,
no,
he just like for a long time he was sort of just like, you know, like a James Dean type, and then he just like all of a sudden like popped into the comedic scene and was really good. So
ED has a comment based on your last week's comment, I guess.
Yeah,
it says James Franco loves children.
Well,
oh damn.
I call him like I see him. I'm watching this from like an outside perspective where I don't know that James Franco's a dirtbag, but I think that's the best movie.
Well,
thanks for your comment, Ed.
And thanks for tuning in again. One more question in terms of the cast. Danny McBride is also hilarious in this movie.
Unreal.
Would you say he's funnier than James Franco in this one?
He always has like a role that's like kind of small, and he just manages to steal the show. He's just like a scene stealer.
Yeah, just the scene when he's like icing the cake is, oh, my cat's dead. So how about that? How do you feel now?
Yeah, he for sure steals the show in every scene he's in. Even Craig Robinson is amazing in this.
Oh, he's great.
Oh my God.
Funny. And we forget that it's like 10 years ago, and he looks like he's pretty buff in that movie too. You know? He's like
the costume on Craig Robinson is hilarious.
Any other comments before we move this show along?
Someone says, I love pineapples. I think that's a different, I mean, I love pineapples too, but there's not really anything to do with pineapples in this movie.
Yeah, that's, I mean, thanks for the comment. But, yeah.
Different kind of pineapples.
Yeah. All right, so let's move this train along. Yes.
Next week for Movie Club.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
What did we decide on watching, Liam?
So, because The Meg is being released next week, a big giant shark movie, we decided to watch Jaws. So everyone should be watching Jaws for next Friday, 12 p.m.
I'll wear my Jaws shirt again. I wore it last week. You're going to see it again.
Yeah, wash it. It stinks.
It stinks.
It stinks. It's disgusting.
I read an article where the director for The Meg said that his whole idea behind this, he was like, I'm going to make a great movie. It's going to be the second best shark movie ever made.
I mean, there's not much else competition.
At least he doesn't think that it would be better than Jaws.
Yeah, because if you do that,
he was like,
you're setting yourself up for something terrible.
I mean, he could. It could be an accurate statement. I mean, there's not really much competition.
What is there? Deep Blue Sea.
Deep Blue Sea.
The one with Blake Lively.
Yeah. The Shallows.
Yeah, that was okay.
But I mean, like, I feel like it's probably easy to top those kind of movies, you know?
Let's save this for next week.
Yeah.
This pitter patter.
Excellent. So let's move on to the three biggest stories of the week. The number 3 entry was Mission Impossible Fallout becoming the franchise's biggest box office hit ever.
That's cool.
Ever.
Pretty crazy.
So I'll throw some,
6 movies in.
6 movies in, and this is the best one. So I'll throw some numbers at you guys. It earned $61.5 million domestically on opening weekend, which is nothing to scoff at. Pretty darn good. That itself was a record for the franchise. And then it also earned $153.5 million globally, and that, you guessed it, was as well a franchise record, so it's doing really well. And the interesting thing as well is overseas, it's only hit 40% of its markets. So it's just going to keep making more and more money. And a lot of people are saying this is the best Mission Impossible of the whole franchise.
Yes.
I mean, that's a pretty big statement. Do you think that's kind of maybe just, it's happening right now? All the hype is around this movie, so people are kind of blinded by that,
I feel like a lot of the marketing of this movie had to do with Tom Cruise doing his own stunts. And I know like that they do that for every movie, and that's like a huge, I guess, lure for audiences is to like see if he can pull it off type thing. But I just remember going through like all of the promotional stuff for this movie and seeing that like it was like the biggest and best stunts that he's ever done. And there was the, the helicopter thing. And I think a lot of people were like completely jived up by that. And I think that probably has a lot to do with why it's doing so well. In addition to it just being like, like just like a cool movie. Like,
yeah, for sure. It's pretty crazy. I mean, he learned how to fly a helicopter for this movie. And I remember watching videos prior to the release of him doing stunts. Yeah. He tried jumping from one building to another, completely messed up. His shin like slammed on the other building.
He broke his ankle. He broke his ankle.
Apparently he was supposed to be out for like 6 months, but like after a week he was already back and running, which is insane.
I'm doing a rewatch of all the Mission Impossible movies because I haven't seen the new one yet. Yeah. And so I was watching the third one with people who hadn't seen it before or aren't really big on Tom Cruise or any of that. And like his star power is just undeniable. Like even they were like, this guy is amazing. Yeah, he's such a good actor.
And then when you take into consideration how old he is now, and
he's old. Well, even in that movie, he's probably like 40. Mission Impossible 3.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's older now.
What are the comments saying? What are people saying?
Do people agree?
There's a few people
that
are
might
saying
be the best?
I hate Tom Cruise.
Wow.
Tom Cruise's life is a lie.
Whoa, what does that mean?
Is that a Scientology?
Nile says Tom Cruise is one of the last surviving true summer blockbuster superstars. I would agree with that.
Yeah,
that's true.
There's not really people like any actors coming up like him.
No, in terms of blockbusters, like Leo puts bums in seats, but he's not really an action star by any means.
No, for sure.
Inception, but that's kind of
he's a very different type of star though.
Yeah.
Wise Guy, good name. Says,
what's up, wise guy?
Tom Cruise also learned how to fly an F-15 in Top Gun. So cool. I think he's just, there's no denying that he's like so dedicated to his craft.
Yeah. He's just like a daredevil. Did you see the video of James Corden and him jumping out of a plane?
No.
Like they went skydiving together, and like this is sort of veering off course, but they went skydiving together, and you could obviously tell James Corden is like freaking out or whatever. And he's just like literally just like flying through the air, smiling, doing tricks and flips. Like he's so insanely brave.
Adrenaline
it's
junkie.
Like he's an adrenaline junkie.
That's it. And like we've had this discussion like personally outside of the show, but we love Tom Cruise in like the dramatic roles, you know, like Magnolia and stuff like that. And he's honestly a really great actor, but he's just kind of shying away from those roles because I think he just honestly wants to fly helicopters and jump off buildings. And he knows he can get away with this because studios will pay whatever amount necessary for him to do these stunts. So he's just riding that.
I hate to stay on the story any longer, but there's a shot in Mission Impossible 3 of him like running through this market in Shanghai, and the camera is like fixed on him, and it's insane how fast he's running, and like the sense of urgency he's got in his run. It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Cool.
So good.
Just to close this one off, Christopher Robin is coming out this weekend, and I've read some articles saying that it's poised to take the top spot at the box office over Mission Impossible. Do we think that is possible?
I want to see Winnie the Pooh and Ethan Hunt fight to the death.
Wow.
That is pretty crazy. I'm living for the fact that people truly believe that. Because it's so funny.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Like maybe it will. I don't know. But
it seems like a family movie.
It just seems really funny. It looks really good.
Yeah. Trying to bank off the success of Paddington, I think.
Yeah.
Good point.
Don't pit two bears against each other, okay?
Move on. Right. That is not right, Liam. So the next story is a movie that's not quite family friendly. A new Terminator movie is coming out, Terminator VI, and they recently released a brand new first look picture, and it features Linda Hamilton returning to the franchise. Also, Natalia Reyes is in it, and Mackenzie Davis. So let's throw it to our director pal Manny. Manny, can you bring that? There it is. It's already up. So, I mean, Linda Hamilton looks badass. She's still kicking it.
Image.
The main focus is obviously Mackenzie Davis. She's gone through a ridiculous body transformation.
Yeah.
She is.
Is that her body though? Because it looks like her head was pasted onto that image.
It looks like all their heads were pasted onto.
Yeah.
It did look like they did some weird photoshopping with the heads. But she's ripped. She looks really cut.
There's something about the image that looks like made for TV to me.
Yeah,
I know. It was like the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
It does. It reminds me of the Sarah Connor Chronicles a little bit, especially. I don't know, just like the look of it, and I don't really love the like this dark and gritty thing that they always go for here. It looks like Salvation, like the background.
Well, I mean, the world has been blown up, I would assume at this point.
Yeah,
and it's also supposed to be like a direct sequel to Terminator 2: Judgment Day. So they're just kind of forgetting everything else after that. Yeah,
they're doing that a lot recently, eh? With Halloween, they're doing it, and
isn't Arnold coming back as well?
Someone in the comments said Arnold is not in the movie. Wise guy, and he's wise.
So there you go.
I believe that he is wise, but I did read an article this morning that said that he was coming back.
Let's talk about Arnold a little later. I just want to see if there's any comments of people, what they think of the poster.
All right.
Nilay says Terminator 6 poster really good. Linda Hamilton is back. Linda Hamilton is back. There's gonna be. Yeah, that's going to be sent around a lot.
Yeah. So the thing is, it's interesting because Schwarzenegger is coming back, and he's probably, he'd be arguably the biggest draw of this movie, but he's not in the picture. There's just 3 women. I just want your opinion on that because there's a lot of trolls on the internet, and if you click that picture and look through the comments, it's just basically people saying, "Oh, because women are so popular now, all movies are just
women are so popular now.
People are afraid of being sexist and stuff." So
shut up, okay? Listen to me. We're giving the people what they goddamn want, and they want ladies. They want strong, cool ladies with cool haircuts and ripped abs, and that's what they want. So that's what's going on here, and I think it's sick, and I think it's really cool that we have these 3 amazing women at the forefront of a franchise that's been, primarily revolving around Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is also an amazing actor in person, whatever. I'm a huge fan. I just think it's really cool. And you know what? If you don't like it, well, you can suck
But I'd even argue that obviously, whoa, I like the spunk. I get what you're saying, but you can also argue that, Linda Hamilton's Sarah Connor is also, she's one of the bigger draws of this movie. And she's an incredibly strong, strong-willed woman in the movie. So, I mean, if people have an issue with that, it's like it's been in the franchise for so long already. Go back to the other movies and
remind yourself
Terminator
about her
exists.
character.
I thought I heard that James Cameron was going to be playing a bigger role in this, I think. Or like because I think like the last one he just did like some press where he's like, yeah, this movie's going to be great.
Yeah, well, he's always had just like that producer credit that's kind of just,
But I've seen like a lot of articles come out that like he's saying something about it, and it just seems like he's more involved a little bit.
Is he not direct? Who's directing this one? That's a good question that we should have double checked on.
Who? Oh, Tim Miller from
yes.
did Deadpool, right?
Yeah, Deadpool, exactly. Thank you, Manny.
Thanks,
Shout outs to Manny. Thumbs up, my bud. So there you go.
What did the comments have to say?
Phoebe's all about the comments. Let's get to it.
El Coquino saying Judgment Day is the best Terminator movie.
I don't think there's any argument with that.
I mean, Terminator 1's pretty good.
Terminator 1 is great. And, but it's just a rare example of the sequel being better than the original. I'd go as far as saying that's the best action movie of all time.
Yeah.
Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
I think the fighting is always against that and Die Hard.
Yeah.
Right?
I'll just ask our audience that. We'll come back and see what the answers are. But do you think Judgment Day is the best action movie, or is it Die Hard?
Which one?
Let us know. I just want to go back to the picture real quick. Manny, if you can bring that up again, whenever you have a second.
Running around.
But if you notice Mackenzie Davis's character, she has like these, look at her arms and her chest. She has symmetrical scarring all across her body. Yeah. So, I mean, what does that mean? Is she a human, or is she,
a dancer?
That's to our killer fans out there. But I mean, she could very well be a robot or a human robot hybrid, as we've seen in Salvation. So it's interesting.
Very cool.
Lots of questions.
Yep.
Let's throw it to the comments, see if anyone has mentioned Terminator 2 again.
See. Sorry, I just went off the thing for a bit.
Liam, you can't browse your personal Facebook while we're doing the podcast.
ED said ED said best Terminator movie is that one with Christian Bale.
Oh, Terminator Salvation. Hot take, I did not think that it was that bad of a movie.
Salvation?
I kind of enjoyed it.
It was pretty like the post-apocalyptic stuff was pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm sure that Manny's in the back and he's vomiting.
Oh yeah.
He looks really mad. He's freaking out.
Yeah. So let's skip the Terminator news. We'll go to the final one here.
I can't wait to talk about this. I'm so excited. I can't.
You guys.
I can't stress it enough. I can't.
All the people who came for the title.
Our audience. These trailer. And the previous one. So there's a new Venom trailer that came out this week. The big part of this trailer was that they introduced the villain, and it is another evil symbiote named Riot. Symbiote. His name is Riot, and he is the guy who is going to be fighting Venom in this movie. So I'm just going to say it. The same complaints from the first trailer have followed it to the second one. People are complaining about Tom Hardy's accent. That kind of hurts me. I think it's a fine accent, but I'm going to let you guys talk about it. The editing is a big issue, too. It just literally seems like they're picking like singular words out of different conversations to mesh up. The editing is garbage. So I'm going to give the floor to you guys. Our audience, please let us know what you think of the trailer. But I'm going to start with Phoebe, because she's chomping at the bit here.
We're both chomping at the bit.
So, okay, to address what you said about it being his accent, like, it's fine. It's his delivery. He sounds like a 5-year-old. He sounds like he's like struggling to get the words out.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's supposed to be because his character is like shy or something. I am a journalist. Like he sounds like he's like he has a stroke or something, and I don't understand. And you know what I find really funny is that Tom Hardy is like hailed as this like amazing actor.
Oh, you gotta watch what you say
watch
here.
What you say now.
Why?
Because Tom Hardy is an amazing actor.
No. That's not what I was going to say at all.
Because
don't assume what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
No, he's hailed as this amazing actor, and I agree. It's so weird because in this trailer, he's the weakest link. Do you know what I mean? Like we see like it's Riz Ahmed, who's playing the villain, and like he seems pretty good, pretty normal.
See, I do not agree with you there. I think that. Okay, I can understand why some people don't like his accent, but in an interview he said that the idea behind that, because he does both voices. He does his characters and then he does Venom's.
I don't think either are good.
The Venom one is like computerized and it's like digitized or whatever you want to call it. Just like when he
did Bane and he was like,
but
my name is Bane.
My point is, in an interview, he said that he was going for kind of like an aw shucks New York accent. So
I don't know.
In that case, it works. And also, you have to keep in mind that this dude has like this extraterrestrial friggin' symbiote attached to him. So he's messed up mentally and also physically.
So one of the side effects is a speech impediment. I have a parasite.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
But what is wrong with it?
I also have to blame the editing. I think the editing makes it sound a lot worse than it actually is.
As two people who cut voiceover
all the
time, they could have done such a better job.
And that's what I'm saying. See, if it was cleaner, maybe we wouldn't be having this conversation.
For some sessions. Just have him re-record. Send a VO redo.
I'll cut the VO.
We can make a better trailer.
I also think like for a movie that came out 10 years after the first or Spider-Man, not the first
Tobey?
Spider-Man 3. Movie that came out 10 years after Spider-Man 3 with Venom in it. The Venom effects don't look that much better than in Spider-Man 3.
A lot of people are kind of calling it like B-movie kind of aesthetic style, which I kind of see.
I also saw some complaints about the battle between Riot and Venom just looking like a giant mess of like nothing.
For me, honestly, I thought that was the only cool part.
Really?
Like that was the only cool part. Like because the first time that I watched it, I didn't actually see them entangled in the whole mess, and I thought that it was really cool. Like once I went back and watched it for like the 30th time so I could just like laugh at it, I was like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. What are the comments saying?
There's a lot of people defending Venom.
Yes.
Whoa. Thank you. I'm so shook.
I want to hear them.
Jason Barnes says Venom looks way better than Iron Man in Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man
looks better than Iron Man in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yes, Spider-Man and I think Spider-Man and Iron Man.
Okay, I mean, interesting. That's kind of a interesting comparison to make. But cool, thank you for that. Anything else?
Nishwal says, I actually like the trailer. I always like a good Tom Hardy movie. There was someone here, where is it?
See,
someone said,
I'm not the only one who thinks this way, guys.
Khalid said, here's hoping Venom will be good. I think we're all kind of hoping that it will be good.
I want it to be good. I mean, it's just, it looks so bad.
Yeah, and
they
have like such a great, Michelle Williams is in it, Riz Ahmed, like, oh my God.
Jenny Slate? Is that her name?
Jenny Slate.
Listen, everything
they completely left her off this new anime.
Because she said symbiote and everyone was like, no.
Everything on paper, like the cast, even the director I like he did Zombieland and even 30 Minutes or Less was pretty underrated, I thought.
Oh, right. That's a good comedy.
Maybe this is like a red herring and it's going to be amazing.
Everything on paper means this movie should be good, but I don't know. The trailers aren't selling me.
Yeah. I just want to touch upon one last thing. Riz Ahmed's character is named Carlton Drake, and he's like the leader or like the owner of this company called the Life Foundation. And as you can see in the trailer, they're performing all these experiments on the symbiotes and stuff. You can see it like attacking this random dude.
Yeah.
And then throughout the rest of the trailer, we see other symbiotes, however you pronounce it. Jenny Slate, you've ruined it for everyone. But basically, there's a female character who seems to have one of the symbiotes attached to her as well. So maybe Riot isn't the only villain. And there's a lot of people thinking that there are several kind of symbiote characters within the Spider-Man universe. There's Agony, Phage, Scream, and Lasher.
Scream?
Yep, Scream.
Well, we still haven't seen... what's his name? Woody Harrelson, eh?
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
He has to be one of these guys, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Isn't he going to be Carnage? Or no?
Oh, maybe.
Is that wrong? I don't know.
No, I don't think Carnage is going to be in this particular movie. So those were the three biggest stories of the week, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Just also letting you know that you can find this as an audio podcast version if you're not tuning into the live one, if you miss it for whatever reason. And you can find those on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. Yes. So it's time for the cutting room floor. These are the three stories that didn't make the cut in the original, but they're still pretty good. The Sandlot. It's a classic American film. Probably what many people will call the best baseball movie of all time. And it's getting a prequel.
Which nobody asked for.
Nobody asked for.
No.
At first, I was kind of like, that's weird because the movie is like pretty old at this point. Why are they going before this? But then I realized that there's already 2 sequels.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah, 2 not very good sequels, if I must say so myself.
Straight to DVD, right?
Oh, I don't even know.
it seems like
possible.
they're trying to bank on the nostalgic thing. I guarantee this can be set in the 80s or 90s.
Yeah.
Is there going to be a Demogorgon?
Yeah.
It's entirely possible. Is anyone? We'll ask our audience. Is anyone excited for a Sandlot prequel? I'll ask you guys. Are you excited for this?
From what I can tell online, people are like, "Why are you doing this? Like, why are you ruining our childhoods?" And I think a lot of people want these type of reunions because the cast gets back together.
Yeah.
This cast, not a lot of them really act anymore. And I know that a few of them have run into legal troubles. So it's not likely that they'll have that reunion factor in there. So it's it seems too far removed from the original.
Yeah.
And I'll say it again, I'll say it a million times. I don't know why they keep revamping old movies. And I mean, we do know it's because they want to make money.
Yeah. Yeah. Liam?
There's a few people disputing your fact about
the sequels?
No. Sandlot being the best baseball movie of all time.
Oh, God.
2 people are saying Field of Dreams is the best baseball movie.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of any. What's the one with Tom Cruise? League of Their Own? Is that it?
Yeah, Tom Hanks.
That's Tom Hanks.
Sorry.
There's also Moneyball.
Moneyball. Well, it's not really about baseball. It's about business. It's about money.
It's about the business of baseball.
Yeah, I guess.
Of course it's a baseball
There's not really
movie.
much baseball in that movie, though. It's a lot of him sitting in boardrooms.
Yeah, but it's done to the soundtrack by, was it Explosions in the Sky? Or the other...
Is it? I don't know.
Post-rock band.
Okay.
Anyways.
The Sandlot.
Although... original writer and director coming back, does that make you any more interested?
I'm sure he doesn't really have that much other work.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Come on the show, though.
It's actually, I think, did you know it's the 25-year anniversary?
That happened recently this year, right?
Yeah. So
they're probably banking on that, too. They're banking on, the nostalgia thing and, it's its 25th birthday. People might remember. Let's kind of bank on that. I think our reaction kind of says exactly how we feel about this. Are there any other comments before we jump to the next story here?
Emily Jackson says, Star Trek is bad. And then someone else was like, "What? Star Trek is good, but it's not even baseball." Which is probably my favorite exchange in the comments so far.
It's pretty spot on.
Stay on topic, people, okay?
Yes. Help us out, guys. Let's go to the next one then. This one I think we'll have a little bit more to talk about.
Yes.
We're all huge fans of Moonlight that came out last year.
One of my favorites.
It's incredible.
I don't know, but one of my favorites of that year.
Of that year, for sure. Me as well. So Barry Jenkins is coming back. He recently, this week obviously, released a new trailer to his new movie, If Beale Street Could Talk. And it looks absolutely stunning. Yes. Reminds me a lot of the shots in Moonlight. A lot of the close, intimate. Yeah. I loved it. Yeah.
So this movie is actually based on a book by James Baldwin, and it was written in 1974.
Yeah.
And the story is about a young couple, 2 lovers, and the woman falls pregnant, and her boyfriend goes to jail because he was accused of a rape that he didn't commit.
Yeah.
And he was framed and blah, 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 blah. And I think that though the story was written in 1974, it definitely has a lot of resonance now.
Yeah. Of course.
Considering the current political climate. And I think that this is just the perfect story for someone like Barry Jenkins to tell.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited and happy that there are more Black creators and Black filmmakers coming to the forefront and telling these stories that would otherwise go unheard.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And I really think that this is just the perfect time for him to make this movie.
Yeah. I've been really excited to see what he was going to do next.
Yeah.
Just because Moonlight, I saw it 3 times in theaters because it made me cry like a little baby.
Oh, this one seems like it has its potential to do that as well.
Yeah. For sure.
Are there any comments maybe mentioning Moonlight or
someone said, a wise guy said Moonlight is a remedy for all poisonous things. It's such a heartwarming movie. Yeah,
I love that. That's very poetic.
Yeah.
Can you
I really
pin that comment?
I don't know, Mahershala Ali in that movie. I remember being confused because someone had mentioned to me that he was only in the first segment of the film because it's told in 3 segments.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, it's so strange that he would win Best Supporting Actor for being in a film for such a short period of time. Yeah. And then I watched him and he's just got this charm and he just oozes just this class, and his character is just so lovely. When they're standing in the water, it's just
oh man.
Oh my God, my heart is fluttering. It's also, so beautiful.
I read something a review when the movie came out, and they were talking about his performance and just how his character just kind of looms over the rest of the film. And I think that's really you get a sense that Mahershala's character made him who he was like later in the film, kind of, you know.
Like we're introduced to that character for such a short period of time, but you just like feel him throughout the rest of the movie.
100%. Like, there was no one else that could have won that Oscar. He was claiming that for sure. If I'm not mistaken, I think that this movie is premiering at TIFF this year, and TIFF is, you know, notorious for churning out these Oscar favorite movies. So Moonlight did obviously incredibly well at the Oscars last year. Do we think that this has a chance to live up to those kind of standards?
Absolutely. I think like we saw last year's Oscars that there's more room in the contemporary media landscape for these types of stories to be told. It's what people want to see. Yeah. And I think like we had this discussion where like A24 is putting out all of these like coming of age stories about like white, you know, cisgendered people. Yeah. And I think like people are like, oh, I want to see something different, you know, not that those movies are bad and they don't have value. It's just like we want to see something different. And I think that this movie has the potential to stand out among those sort of, you know, cookie cutter films.
I think that's what made Moonlight stand out so much was that it was like a story that like has never been told before on that kind of scale, or that kind of like has had that audience, I guess. Yeah. Like, as big of an audience.
Exactly. No, I mean, it was obviously very successful, but it's also a big risk to take to make a movie about you know black people, black culture, but also like homosexuality. You know, it's
I think it's definitely like a taboo subject, like even in real life. And I think that like it was really brave of him to tell that story. Yeah. And I think it's also really brave of him to tell this story because it has similar, you know, undertones of taboo. So yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Andy Serkis, who's known for all of his motion capture work. That's what he is famous for. But he's also like started directing quite a few movies, or not quite a few, but a couple movies. The latest one he is going to direct is Animal Farm, which is an adaptation on George Orwell's novella.
Yes. One of the best books of all time.
I would agree.
I think it's my favorite book.
Really? Of all time?
Yeah.
Really?
I love that book. I don't know what it is about it, but I just like love it. So excited to hear about this.
I was going to say, so how excited are you that a man like Andy Serkis is adapting it for the big screen?
I think that if it would be anybody, it would be him. He's just so talented, and I think I think, you know, Mowgli's coming out as his directorial debut.
Yes. Yeah.
And
I think it's his second movie.
No, it's his director. Okay. I know what I'm talking about. Thank you. But
I'm backing up. I was on the Wikipedia earlier, and
I thought he did like a smaller scale one.
No.
That like didn't really get much traction. Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, but this movie has the potential to be really good. I think that I will reserve my judgment until I see Mowgli, because that seems like kind of weird. I'm a little bit confused by the tone of it. Like, it's supposed to be the Jungle Book, and I watched the trailer and I was like, it's dark. It seems really dark. Like everything about it, just like, you know, aesthetically it seems dark, and thematically it seems really dark. Yeah. So I'm anxious to see that. But I think that tone could translate well into this story.
Yeah.
Not necessarily
Liam,
the Jungle Book.
What do you think?
Like,
I love the book Animal Farm, but I've always thought that like it's kind of this like unfilmable story, especially because it's like it would be such a hard movie to market because it's like so deeply rooted in political stuff and all that. So I'm just wondering like who this movie's for, but like I mean like if anybody's gonna do it, I think Andy Serkis is like the perfect director or the perfect person.
Are commenters agreeing? Do they have any opinions on this Animal Farm adaptation?
Nishwal says Andy Serkis always plays animals, so it's only fitting for him to direct movies about animals, which is really funny.
There you go.
That's why I said if it's gonna be anybody, it's gonna be him.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's interesting. He's clearly building like a pretty good relationship with Netflix because Mowgli was bought by Netflix. This new one bought by Netflix. And it's interesting because I also read earlier today that Netflix is trying to push and earn a wider theatrical release thing so that they can be up for more Oscars and Golden Globes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's like a good business move after the controversial that they saw, I guess, from last year's Oscars, where everyone was like, but can they really do that? They can't do that, you know, like being super annoying. So it's a smart business move for sure.
Yeah. I think if there's a movie that I want to see and I have the option to watch it on Netflix or in a theater, I'd probably choose the theater. I find it pay more attention. I like it.
Yeah. What does our audience think of Netflix perhaps branching out and doing a bigger theatrical run? I'll give some time for some answers. And in the meantime, Netflix hired this woman named Lisa Tabak. I don't know how to pronounce it, but apparently she's like, that's kind of like a Quebec reference for those that don't understand. But apparently she's like the biggest award strategist in like all of Hollywood. Strategist. We
can't say word today.
No, but apparently she's been hired, and Netflix is going like all out in this endeavor.
They're ready. They're ready to.
They want to conquer the film world. Yeah,
take it all. Yeah,
I'm into it.
Yeah,
I'm all about it.
Any comments just quickly on Netflix, perhaps?
El Coqueno says Hulu is better than Netflix.
That's an interesting.
We don't have Hulu here though, so we can't. I mean, I've used Hulu before, and it's like it's the same thing, you know.
Yeah.
So
they've got some good shows though. Castle Rock.
Here in Canada, if you find out that a show is going exclusively to Hulu, you just wait and see like what Canadian channels are going to pick them up for distribution, and if none do, then
you're screwed, dude.
You illegal downloads maybe. Not us though.
No, we don't do that. We don't do that.
Yeah. So there's a couple new releases coming out. Well, there's more.
I got one funny comment. Okay. Evan says Netflix is our only hope against Disney, which I agree with.
Yeah,
that's true. That's actually a really good point.
Buying up, not Netflix, sorry, Disney is buying up everything. So
they're scary.
It's really scaring me.
Yeah.
Anyways, it keeps me up at night.
I just don't like the idea of one production house producing literally every type of media we ingest. It's just like, where's the diversity? I don't want the same kind of style for everything. Anyways, Evan, I agree with you, man.
Nice.
So new releases. The two big ones are Hot Summer Nights. No, sorry.
Whoa.
Those are last week's. What's coming out this week? I cannot.
Clean this up.
Yeah. What is coming out this week? I am blanking.
Christopher Robin.
Christopher Robin.
That's it.
Christopher Robin.
And so Christopher Robin, that trailer, honestly, I watched. It's like
makes me cry every time.
It makes me teary. It's like there's nothing like crazy sad in it, but it's just, I guess it's like the nostalgia.
There's one really sad part where he picks up Eeyore and it makes like a little sound in his armpit, and it's like, oh.
Who does
and I was like, I can't. I started crying. I was like, I can't deal with it. It's so cute.
Who does he find just floating in like that river or pond thing? Was it Eeyore? I was like, oh,
and then he picks him up and he's all wet.
That promo shot of the four of them sitting in the chairs with sunglasses on is like adorable.
That's so cute.
I got teary-eyed watching it. I think usually I don't see like the Disney live actions in theaters, but this one I just might.
There's something about that animation that's just so heartwarming.
Yeah. And then the other one I am remembering now was The Spy Who Dumped Me.
Oh, this looks fun.
Kate McKinnon's
I'm actually into it. Justin Theroux.
Justin Theroux's in it. He's the spy. And Mila Kunis. Yeah. That looks actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be a great movie, but I'm sure just, you know, with that cast, and as long as the script is like mildly funny, I think they can carry it.
It kind of looks like Hitman's Bodyguard that came out last year, where it's just like this fun movie you go see.
But I remember
not the greatest, but
I remember watching that trailer and I was not excited at all.
Really? Yeah. I thought that was pretty funny.
This is like a parody on like all the spy tropes, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's like a good time for it to come out. And I think like Mila Kunis and Kate McKinnon have really good chemistry. So I think it could be fun.
Right after, it'd probably make for a fun double feature with Mission Impossible Fallout. All the spy cliches.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you go from like Mission Impossible, super intense, to kind of like the comedic, light, easy watching. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Some wind down time. Guys, so that basically wraps up the show. Thank you so much for watching. And be sure to check out the extended cut on MojoTalks. This is this channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. Ring that bell. And as mentioned before, it's also an audio podcast. If you can't watch it live, you can find that on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. So for myself, Phoebe, and Liam, have a good one,
and
guys.
Watch Jaws.
Jaws, of course. Wow. You guys are on it. Yes. So movie club next week, Jaws. You got to do it in celebration of the Meg.
Yes.
Matt is going to wash his shirt. Stay tuned for that.
Yes. You're going to watch his shirt?
Wash his shirt.
I'm just going to be holding it up like this the whole time. This is Jaws. Yeah. So again, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Have a good one.
Bye.